Hello everyone, and welcome back to Politalks. Today, we are going to the first episode of Argentina under Javier Milei leadership. We're going to break down Milei's first year in office, look at the economic theory behind his policies, and explore what this means for Argentina's future. Whether you agree or not with Milei, there is no denying that his presidency has talked a lot about the role of the government, the economy, and freedom. Here are some stats. 2025 January inflation was 2.2%, the lowest in more than 4 years. Country risk has decreased constantly, and by the time I'm recording this, is near 700, a very low mark for Argentina. Poverty decreased to 36.8% in the end of 2024, after reaching more than 50% in the beginning of the year. So, let's unpack what has been happening and what different political views think about this. So, let's start with the basic. What has Javier Milei done in the first year? His administration has focused heavily on implementing policies attached to his libertarian philosophy. Here are some examples. Cutting taxes. Milei has reduced taxes for both businesses and individuals, arguing that keeping more money in people's pockets will encourage spending, investment, leading to economic growth. A very important tax he eliminated recently is the Impuesto País, which was a tax for purchases in the foreign currency, devaluating the peso. Also, reducing government spending. His government has significantly cut public spending by principally reducing the size of the public sector, with the objective of maintaining an economic surplus to combat inflation. He fired approximately more than 30,000 of employees in the public sector. A new way of facing strikes. Javier Milei's government has adopted a new approach managing strikes and demonstrations, marked by financial penalties and strict protocols. The government has ordered social organizations and trade unions to pay for security operations. Additionally, Security Minister Patricia Bullrich has introduced an anti-piquete protocol that permits the use of necessary force to assure traffic flow during protest. Finally, the educational plan. Javier Milei's education policy focused on reducing state intervention by introducing an education voucher system for private schools, aiming to decentralize education and promote school choices. He proposed eliminating mandatory comprehensive sex education in school, viewing it as a form of indoctrination. Additionally, Milei's administration has restructured the Minister of Education into a secretary under the Ministry of Human Capital and has implemented significant budget cuts affecting public universities, for example. For instance, the government has proposed charging tuition fees to foreign students, a move that has sparked controversy. In addition, the government launched the Plan de Alfabetización Nacional in July 2024. This initiative focused on enhancing literacy by fostering collaboration among educational representatives. The plan emphasized training, participation, and communication to improve reading and writing skills across the country. So, let's start with the positive things in Milei's first year in office. First, attracting investment. By cutting taxes and reducing bureaucratic red tape through, for example, the rigging, the administration of Milei has created more business-friendly environments, and many multinational companies are showing interest in investing in Argentina. Some have already started, for example ISA or Decathlon, which announced they will open stores in Argentina. Also, Elon Musk said he will open a Starlink operational base in Argentina, but this is yet to be done. The RIGI framework, designed to incentivize major investments, has proven effectiveness in attracting interest, particularly in the energy, mining, and agricultural sectors, which have been significantly driven of the recent economic recovery. Secondly, tackling inflation. By slashing government spending and adopting tighter monetary policies, inflation, though is still high, has started to decrease to its minimum point in the last couple of years. In addition, the country risk is at the lowest in the last couple of years. The government focus on reducing inflation through strategic monetary controls has shown progress, with inflation reducing from nearly 290% in April 2024 to 193% by October 2024. These steps are bringing Argentina to closer stability, which investors are starting to recognize as a positive for long-term outlook. Lastly, economic growth. The recovery of key sectors like energy and mining has been central achievement of Milei administration. The RIGI has attracted major investments in these areas, with oil, gas, mining industries seeing significant growth. This recovery is also linked to the government support of the Vaca Muerta region, which is becoming a central player in the global energy landscape. The government focus on building infrastructure to support this industry is setting the stage for long-term growth and jobs creation, despite challenges in the short run. Now, going to the cons. Rising inequality. With the reduction of subsidies and privatization of essential services, low-income Argentinians are feeling the pinch, though they have stated that this is what needs to be done in order to come out of the hole Argentina was in. Many are struggling with the rising cost of services that were previously subsidized by the government. Thirdly, social unrest. Milei's radical reforms have sparked protests, with many Argentinians voicing concerns about the loss of social protections. Like, for example, the university protest, because the government didn't want to increase the budget for the public university before the universities presented the audits. Though, in the last 8 to 10 months, almost no protests were made and none of the streets were cut. Lastly, regarding the educational reform, critics argue that these policies undermine education as a fundamental right, aligning with far-right trends that seek to privatize and liberalize education. The reduction in the public funding has led to deteriorating infrastructure and resources in public universities, resulting in widespread protests from students and teachers. Furthermore, the introduction of tuition fees in public universities for foreign students is viewed by some as discriminatory and potentially damaging Argentina's reputation as a destination for international scholars. Overall, while the government positioned these reforms as efforts to improve efficiency and reduce state expenditures, many believe that they represent significant risk to accessibility and quality of education in the country. Now that we review the main impact of Milei's policies, let's talk about the economic theory driving them: supply-side economics. Supply-side economics is based on the idea that the best way to grow an economy is to focus on the supply side, essentially the businesses and producers. The goal is to create an environment where businesses feel confident to invest, hire more workers, produce more goods and services. Here is how it works. Tax cuts. Lower tax means businesses have more money to invest in their operations. For example, a factory might use the savings to upgrade machinery or hire more workers. Then, reducing government interference makes it easier for businesses to operate and compete, which can boost productivity. Lastly, selling state-owned enterprises to private companies is intended to improve efficiency and reduce government debt. In theory, these policies create a ripple effect. Businesses grow, jobs are created, people earn more, and the economy expands. But the supply-side economics have some risk. I'm gonna explain them with potential examples for Argentina. Milei tax cuts aim to encourage businesses to hire more workers and expand. While this sounds great, there are some risks that if the businesses does not reinvest the savings, the benefits will not trickle down to the workers and expand and grow the economy. The second example is privatizing state businesses, for example, transportation companies. If we privatize them, they might make them more efficient, but it can also lead to some lines being cut. If private companies prioritize profits, people from the inside of the country may struggle to find transport. This is something that's already happened in Argentina with a railroad system. After privatizing the public company, many lines were cut, and because the government did not control the contract with the private company, the quality of the trains decreased drastically. One of the biggest critiques Milei's approach has is the impact it has on public spending. By cutting government spending, programs like public healthcare and education were cut by more than 40% according to different sources. This could lead to patients waiting longer in public hospitals or the quality of public schools declining. However, years before Milei's arrival, public healthcare and education was horrible in Argentina. The infrastructure was the worst of many places in the world, hospitals with broken roofs or universities with no lights. This was principally because politicians used these services as a way to steal money, better called corruption. So, that's all. What do we take away from Milei's first year in office? Well, his policies have certainly shaken up the status quo, and while there are signs of progress, the challenges cannot be ignored. Supply-side economics offer potential benefits, but it also has some risk. Will this policy deliver in the long run, or will the social cuts outweigh the economic benefits? Well, thank you for hearing. Hope to see you next time. Bye.